Hello everyone and welcome back to another wonderful episode of Historical Recreations. Today I'll be showing you how to create 6 of these very cool, creepy, and very easy to make specimens in a jar. Join me. Creating your specimen jars for your Halloween display or whatever type of display you want couldn't be easier. All you need is a cylindrical jar like these. These are dollar store coffee, sugar, and tea jars that are clear and transparent and have a lid that suction cups down. You'll also be needing today some acrylic paint. The color of choice is an acrylic black, number 999. You'll be needing food coloring, especially yellow, and also an assortment of different type of insects, bugs, arachnids, any type of thing that you think would look really cool and spooky inside of these jars. Now I need to share with you these type of things. These are oversized creatures. I got these off of a dollar store, and here, the specimen to my left, the spider, was gotten off of Amazon. Now, these are going to look really super cool because we're going to alter them and stick them in the jars and make them look creepy. I went out and got this very large container of plastic bugs, and there are all kinds of amazing things in here to put inside of our jar. We're going to have to sort through all of these bugs and find out what is in here first and pick out the coolest specimens for our jars. Let's do it. Let's be curious and find out what is all in this giant container of specimens and stuff. Ooh, specimens everywhere, but which ones do you choose to put in your jars? Well, the first criteria for this would be the most lifelike. This spider, no, I would say no. He's going to be put back in the jug, not lifelike. Another criteria is darkness. This works for me. This works for me. This works for me. This works for me. The ant works for me. That is bizarre. Although this scorpion is light color, we can spray this down and make it another color. We have today 6 jars to fill. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We actually have 6 specimens right there. So this is going to be very, very cool. I love the scorpion, and today we may need to spray this down with a black spray paint, or I may have a brown spray paint and then change the colors. For the foremost, it looks like we have our lineup. Ladies and gentlemen, here is now the lineup chosen for our display. We have spider number 1, spider number 2, giant ant, large beetle over here, spider number 3. See how the size of the jar and the spider is just size appropriate. It feels comfortable. We have some negative and positive space in there, and believe it or not, the grasshopper beat out the scorpion because of size. We can actually make a completely cool tutorial prop just out of this and make a display case. So with our 6 chosen, and congratulations you bugs. Now, oh, and arachnids, because arachnids are not bugs. They are different species. These will be the contenders now we need to create, and let's paint up our lids now. Let's get rid of the modern concept over here. We're going to be using today a acrylic black number 999, and we're going to paint all of these lids. Don't worry about the underside. That's not important. No one's ever going to see that. We just want to coat the top, create a little bit of texture with our brush, and make them look like they're more like aged metal or some type of stopper that would have been appropriate on a specimen's jar. Another thing I want to point out to you, if you have things like this, see this sticker that was remained after I pulled it off? Leave that on there. These are key elements to making your jars more cooler. Over here, there's some material that got left over, some kind of resin on here. Leave this stuff on here. The more gummed up and the more how do you say, used or elements that get put on your jars, the better. Alright, let's paint these guys up. Another very important part of creating our specimen jars is to create specimen labels. Now I got this off of an insect website that they have, and you can freely just print these out and write in all the information on here. Now, I would also like to share that when you're making these types of labels, make them look old, and we're going to do the aging process today. But let's also put some like 1930s, 1940s, 1920s dates on them. Are you ready? Let's do this. Once you get your labels made and cut out, and I did cursive writing on this, and I'm going to be taking a touch marker here, and what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to age the edges of all of my labels. And why this is important, because they're going to stand out on our specimen jars, and we're going to also coat them with a burnt umber number 925, and you're going to see these labels come alive. So let me first put a border around each and every one of these labels, and then we're going to stain them. If you've seen my other videos on staining labels, you'll notice that I always use a burnt umber number 925. Now you can also use instant coffee, you can also use tea bags. However, this is a very, very beautiful process because I love the color and it just looks so antique and vintage. Now I'm going to be making a slurry, a little bit about 1 to 3 here. Because the labels are light, and we're going to stain these down, paint over them completely. Now you can see how the marker that I applied on there blends in with the staining technique. Let them wrinkle. You can chip out the paper a little bit. I'm just using typing paper that I put in my printer. Make a few of these labels a little bit darker. You can take some of the information away like this, stain it up really good, make them all different. They're going to look vintage regardless. The numbers and the dates on here are 1921, 1919, 1911, 1921 again, 1937, and 1940. What I'm doing now is I'm putting a little bit of dirt on there, a little bit more, so they're not perfectly clean, like these specimens have been moved from lab to lab. You can do that just by dipping your paintbrush in a little bit of the burnt umber and just slightly tap it in there. Make sure it's blended in quite nicely. And don't be afraid to experiment. This is what prop making is all about. And that's creating some of the most amazing props through happy accidents. I like to experiment and then explain to my students what I'm doing. Alright, I think we have achieved it. Now let all of these air dry. Now once your labels are dry, I highly recommend using one of these. It's a glue stick. You have to choose the appropriate label for each and every one of them, and of course I wrote them out like Goliath beetle and bird eating spider and giant ant. And for this, basically you can also add some tears and some dents and some rips to the label if you want to, like that, to even age them up a little bit more. So while we're doing this, see, let's find out. Here it is. Gigantic wolf spider. Okay, so we know we want this one right here. And I'm going to apply my label appropriately onto this. Where are you going to apply the label? You want to apply it down at the bottom. That always is the proper place to put the specimen label. And see how by using glue stick you can slide it around appropriately. And don't worry about that. You can always pull your specimens up a little bit. Don't worry about them being down. Anyways, they slouch down in the bottle and they look kind of cool if they're all crumpled up anyways. Alright, our next important thing is to finish all of our labels and then put in our formaldehyde. Now to apply a quarter drop. Now once you take off the applicator top here, you're going to notice that the drop is going to pool, and you're going to use a very, very, very light amount, just like micro drop, and I think I actually put drop in there already. There's one. Let's do one over here for the grasshopper. Just a micro drop, not even a full drop, just a quarter drop there. And this just magically becomes the formaldehyde that you want. I'm putting a drop behind there and over here too. I'm doing over there. And just stir that in with your finger. Just stir that in with your finger. Mix it up. It just creates the most unusual looking, our little bug over here. See, I'm going to be dropping him in here. He's a floater. He's a floater. Spider over here too. Mix it up a little bit. Mix it up. These are going to be so cool. I mean, this is good. This is creepy stuff, and it's so easy to make. A very important element is to put our lids securely back on our specimens. We are going to now, these are airtight jars now. I love them, okay? They look like laboratory specimens from a different era, but we're going to age them. So let's get the caps on, and we're going to do a smoking wash on the glass. Demonstrating how to smoke the glass today, I am using a little bit of my acrylic black number 999 and a little tray of water over here, and I am now applying the black paint with the water now to our plexiglass finish over here. Don't be afraid to get that on the labels. Just layer it right on top of there. If you think that there's too much, just get some paper towel and sop it up. It looks great. The more these things are stained, the better they look. Anyways, what people are looking for is the creepiness and not worry about the writing. Now, if you see my other tutorials on how I did the Harry Potter dome, skeletons in the dome, skulls in the dome, you'll see very carefully how I smoked up the glass. But it's very, very easy to do. Once you apply this, just let it air dry. Totally an easy prop making way to make something. Okay, let's finish the other ones. And here you have the final fruits of our labor. 6 very disturbingly well preserved insect and arachnid specimens in formaldehyde. Gothically yours, Professor M.